Hey guys, welcome back to the channel and another Swiss 001 video. Now welcome aboard one of my favorite planes. Yeah, a plane that I've really started to like in the past few weeks. Of course, we're talking about the very legendary Boeing 757. Again, a pilot's favorite aircraft. Let's talk about why that is today and why it is exactly dying at the moment. Because, you know, obviously it is getting retired. It's after all a plane designed in the 70s, but more on that later. Let's talk about the fun part first. The 757 can often be described as something like a sports car or something. It is a very performance-y plane, which is a weird way of saying that this plane has a lot of performance under its belt. This plane has a lot more performance than something like a 737 MAX, something very modern, or an A320, which is why this plane is often used at, you know, dangerous places, short runways where, you know, a fully filled 737 MAX could not fly to. This airplane is also quite alright with high altitudes and, you know, hot weather, which is an issue that we've talked about before. You know, a performance of a plane very much gets reduced as the weather gets hotter, which is again no problem the 757 is. So yeah, let's just actually fly this plane in form of a large passenger aircraft. Let's go ahead, just a casual takeoff here. Let's see how long of a runway we're gonna need for this 757 here. And just a hint, this plane doesn't need a long runway. Let's just get out. Here we go, and we are off the ground. That has actually worked, and we really did not use this whole runway there, like at all. There we go. Yeah, again, this plane is known for being able to fly to some places other aircraft wouldn't be able to fly to. Was that grammatically correct? I don't know, but let's just fly this plane to some interesting places. And you know what? When I say interesting places and short runways, I mean it. Let's go to the Caribbean, of course. St. Bartholomew Island. Yes, I'm really confident about this plane, actually. Alright, welcome to St. Bartholomew. Again, I'm not joking. 700-meter long runway with a plane that is really not short. I don't know. Let's see the actual sports plane capabilities of the 757s. Now, to make this a little bit more easy, I guess we're going to use the whole runway and a little bit more than that, a little bit of this grass as well, and see how well that works. Okay, let's just go ahead and put the flaps to 15 while we are actually getting the engines to full power. Perfect. And now we can take off. Alright, we have a 50 knots, 60 knots. I think we're going to easily get 100 knots by the end of the runway, which means that we're able to take off. There we go. That was a little close, actually. This is really the shortest runway that this 757 could ever do, but this is 700 meters. Jesus. Let's check out this takeoff here. I mean, to be fair, I think I did have a severe tail strike here. Let's check it out. That was actually really bad, but we did not crash into water or anything, which is good. We have survived this takeoff, which is quite impressive. Let's see if we can land this plane here as well. I don't know. We're gonna test its stopping capabilities now as well. Something also very important. Alright, that was a pretty hard touchdown, more of a crash landing. But I think that we're gonna stop here on this runway. And we're not even gonna use the whole runway, which is quite impressive as well. There we go. We can easily just use this exit here from the runway. Isn't that nice? Let's check out how this landing actually went. Again, it was a little hard just judging by the sound as well. There we go. Now proper touchdown, a little bit in front of the runway. We did hit this bush here with our left engine, but this worked actually quite a lot better than it sounded from the cockpit. As you can see, we stopped just fine. Maybe it would be a good idea for the plane to go into maintenance now, but you know, the plane still appears to work. I mean, something that can easily happen is that we can actually lose control of the plane. That's something I found in the 757, where it's just like the hydraulic system all break because of the hard touchdown, but that didn't happen this time around. The plane still perfectly functions, at least here in the flight simulator. So yeah, this plane is great fun to fly. I mean, obviously you don't always fly to small runways like this, but generally the plane handles quite nicely. It's not perfect, but it's nice. It's quite easy to land as well, and landings pretty much always look nice because of the tilted landing gear that we have aboard. There we go. Didn't that look nice? Even though this was a 1,500 feet per minute landing, that was really not good. This is a nice plane to fly in crosswinds as well. No worries about that. It's just a good plane. It's honest, and it's also very dependable, very reliable. Just a really nice classic airliner to fly. Well, Well, at least that's how it's like to fly the 757 in the simulator. By the way, this is one of the most realistic add-ons that there are for the flight simulator. But, you know, I've also read through a few interviews with actual pilots of the 757. They all managed to say the same, so that's nice. Now, from the passenger perspective, this is what the cabin looks like. I actually managed to fly the 757 this year, even though there was this COVID-19 thing or something going on. Now, I managed to actually catch a flight on this one with Condor Air, a plane that still regularly flies the 757 and really likes to fly it because, you know, again, it serves the perfect market for flying a few more than just a few passengers around Europe, you know what I mean, while being able to fly on short runways as well. That's perfect. And actually, sadly, they're one of the last European airlines that still fly around the 757. Oh, and yes, by the way, I've totally forgot to tell you about my experience on board the aircraft. It was really nice. No worries at all about this plane, really. A few people would actually say that it's a little crammed in the cabin, which I don't really think, but, you know, it was really a flyable plane. You know, that's no problem. So, definitely, the question arises, why is this plane getting retired? And why has it not been produced for over like 16 years now? And well, the simple answer is it's old. Oh yeah, I mean, this plane again was designed in the late 70s, had its first flight in the 80s. It's really old, probably older than more than half of the passengers on board, right? I mean, it's most definitely older than me and probably older than you watching this video. I don't think there are no 50-year-olds watching my videos, right? You know what I mean. This plane is old. There we go, and we are managing to get it landed perfectly here at Namur Airport, which is a small private jet airport in Saint-Tropez, south of France. Really nice one, and there we go. We were able to stop it just fine. There we go. Doesn't this look absolutely beautiful? Yeah, I mean, even though this plane was top modern for the 80s, I mean, just look at this glass cockpit. Really, really nice, simple cockpit, really. I mean, you have to consider 80s. That's a little bit of a while ago. Well, yeah, it still has aged, though, quite a bit, really. I mean, to be quite realistic, I mean, it's not particularly modern to have like a steam gauge cockpit these days anymore. Even though I actually prefer this kind of cockpit method, it's something that should be really dead these days. It's not modern technology, it's not efficient, and well, efficiency is the main problem about this plane in any other way. I mean, it's not particularly aerodynamic for today's standards. I mean, just look at these wings. These are very standard. There are some problems with the weight. This plane is obviously a lot heavier than something like a 737-900, which at empty weight weighs 30,000 pounds less, which by the way is 13 tons. While the 737-900ER, again 13 tons lighter, only seats 20 fewer passengers. So this plane, after all, is a little bit less efficient to operate. It's a bit more expensive. I mean, again, fuel costs is a problem even these days. So there is a little bit of a narrower profit margin, which is definitely why you shouldn't buy a 757 anymore as an airliner. You should actually stick with a 737-900ER or a MAX 10 once that one comes out. And well, that's another story, whether you want to fly the MAX 10, but that's another story, really. So yeah, this plane is too much airplane. It doesn't make sense. It's just too heavy, really. So yeah, that is the 757 for you. It's, you know, it's reached the end of its lifespan. I mean, again, it is flying around still in the US and in Europe. Right now we are landing at Key West Airport, which is in Florida. Very interesting airport, not particularly a long runway, which as we have found out already, the 757 doesn't struggle with. But yeah, I don't think you will see this plane flying around and even in 10 years, at least here in the US or in Europe, maybe in some, you know, third world countries like Africa or something. There we go, that was a nice landing. Let's go ahead and get this plane stopped. So yeah, I'm actually still confident that this plane will be flying around for quite a long time now, still. It is, after all, a very reliable aircraft. It is definitely some classic plane material, kind of like the old 737s that are still flying around even though they're 40 or something years old. These old planes, they really don't struggle with age. So again, we don't have to say goodbye to the 757 just yet, and that was a really nice landing again. So yeah guys, thank you for watching today's video, and I'll see you tomorrow. As always, good night.